Hey everybody, this is vlog number 3. Technically it's number 4, but I had to ditch number 3. As I was editing, I realized I used a bunch of references to a current client and decided not to go ahead and publish that one. We got some pretty good feedback over the last couple of days. I've been out of town, one of which is this viewer here asking what it is that I actually do for a living, among some other things which I'll answer later, not in the video, but it's kind of complicated. At the moment I do web development is my main source of income. I am a lead developer, which explains the tired eyes, which most developers have. I guess you don't really have to be a lead developer for that. But for instance, tonight or today, it's like 2 p.m. here where I'm at, and I've been up since yesterday working. I'm also a stay-at-home dad when I can be. But since I work through the night, I have to stay up all day and be a dad and do my job as well, and hopefully go to sleep at some point tonight. But I have a 10 p.m. meeting with a client, so I gotta kind of hang in there. So to answer that question generically, I'm a developer, but more than anything I'm a project manager, lead developer. Basically I'm a problem solver. I take a client's idea and I listen to everything they have to say. We whiteboard until we pass out, and basically take their idea, put it into my head so I can take it back to either my own desk or my developers if I have a team. And that's kind of my job. And when I say I'm a problem solver, I have to figure out how to make this client's idea turn into a reality, which is usually a website, sometimes an app. But on top of that, I also do a bunch of things. I'm kind of a Swiss Army knife, where digital handyman is something that I like to toss around. I pretty much do whatever I can to make money. So if I don't have a web development job at the moment, which does pay very well, if that answers any of your question about whether it's, you know, a good field to get into. If you're good at it, it pays pretty well. That doesn't always mean that there's always jobs. However, I'm also a musician, and I play professionally in several bands. Every once in a while, studio as a drummer. But I actually originally was a graphic designer. I was a graphic designer for professionally for probably about 8 years, but I mean technically since I was 13 years old. I'm 31 now, so someone who hasn't been up all night can do the math on that one. So I basically do whatever I can get my hands on. That even includes doing tattoos and things like that. I do whatever. I would not go as far as to say I'm a tattoo artist, however, but I do tattoo work. That's in my realm of comfort at the moment anyway. I don't want to put bad work out there, so I tend to be very selective on what I do with that. And if I'm not tattooing myself, which that's a whole nother story, I tend to only take jobs when I feel good about the project and that I can do it, plus there's no work coming in or something, and I need a couple extra bucks. Which that's not a bad field to be in either. Tattoo artists can make very good money. A lot of them charge as much as I do for doing my job, which we'll keep it at that. But I wanted to bring this up, one, because it's a good question. I'm sure people want to know what it is that I actually do. But I'm going to be launching a Kickstarter campaign soon here that actually discusses what I do, and how I want to actually get away from what I do for just a little bit, a few months, and focus on doing the videos. Not necessarily these videos. I'll keep doing these if people are actually interested. If not, I'll stop. I really will. It's okay. I don't have to be on camera. What I'd like to do is raise enough money for me to at least pay my bills for a couple months, so that I can focus on getting these series out in a timely manner, in some sort of manner that everybody can they can rely on. Because I realize people like the content, or at least the people watching like the content. I can't say that everybody does, but the people that are, at least the people that are subscribing are. But I was thinking about the other day when I watch TV shows online, things like that, or I find like a new one that I like. I'll watch, excuse the dog. I'll watch 3 seasons in a row, and then be very, very disappointed when I find out that that's the end, and I gotta wait who knows how long until the next season starts, and you're kind of cliffhanging. And I'm not saying my videos are as good as primetime TV or anything like that at all, but as being someone who learned from tutorials themselves, or myself, I can understand how frustrating it can be waiting for that next piece of the puzzle. So that's the reason for that campaign, and hopefully we can go a little over budget. I really did only put the bare minimum in there, basically to keep my wife from killing me. But anything we go over, of course, will go towards extra Monster and Red Bulls, but and coffee. But it'll also, depending on how far we go over, it means I can keep doing more videos and more videos. To be quite honest, as you'll see in my my Kickstarter campaign message, that this is what I prefer to be doing. I prefer to be doing education first in these tutorials, and I have some bigger plans for the education end of things in general. Client work's great, and it's gotten me this far, and I have tons of experience, and I'll always probably take on a client or two here and there, but if I could continue making video tutorials and things like that, plus the other things I have up my sleeve that will actually generate some income for me, mind you, we will be keeping all the free content that we've always kept, but I have some ideas to get me out of this world that I'm in currently, doing these jobs. Nothing against it, but I prefer to be teaching. So anyways, that's enough of that. You'll hear more about that when the campaign starts here in the next few days, probably. Really today I wanted to talk about really quick, I'm going to do a video. I know people are waiting for the next web related video, and that's coming up, but I'm working with somebody who has some pretty interesting equipment, and is interested in getting involved in doing some videos with us. Him and I both are sculptors, we share a similar style. Basically just weird. His stuff is definitely different than mine, and in some ways I'd say more detailed and even cooler. Mine's just weird. But what I want to show is I want to get into a Photoshop tutorial again. I haven't done one of those in a long time, and I want to show the power of the 3D tools that Photoshop is including in. There's other programs out there that allow you to take 3D models and pretty much paint on them. But what better than using Photoshop to paint all the tools you have in Photoshop to paint on a piece of, or like on a 3D model. And if you haven't messed with that yet, then you might be in for a treat. And we're going to do this kind of in the start to finish fashion that we do with the web series, only this will be more of a quick one. 3 to 6 videos tops. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I'm actually going to go through, I'm going to make the sculpture. I won't actually cook it. What we're going to do is we're going to leave it the color that it is. And what we use is, we both actually use the same medium and material, and that's Super Sculpey. I don't know if anybody's in the art scene or community or whatever would understand what Super Sculpey is. But we're not going to bake it. We're going to mold the sculpture, make it as clean as possible, and then I'm gonna take it over to my buddy Andy's house, and where he has a 3D scanner, which is something some of you may or may not have heard of. Not only that, but he has a 3D printer, and we'll get into that later. That'll be something fun to do sometime in the future. But the purpose of the tutorial we're going to do later here, or soon, is showing how we can take a 3D model and utilize Photoshop to paint on it. But I thought it would be fun, instead of just taking a 3D model that already exists, to make a 3D object, scan it in, take that model, and then import it into Photoshop. So that'd be pretty cool. And we're going to get into that. I don't want to waste any more time on this vlog about the details of that. Just watch those videos if you want to know about that. The only other thing I wanted to talk about was when I do the sculpting, I'm going to be over at a different workstation that's sitting over there, just because it's got a lot of empty surface room. And that computer over there is actually my main server, which I finally got back up and running, but right now I'm not using it as a server. But what I did want to show you guys is, since anybody who's watched before or any of these other vlogs, you realize that I use this setup here to record. I wanted to show you, if anybody's familiar with VNC capabilities, what we can do is I can install a program which will just kind of stick over this monitor. And sorry, I'm not using my screen capturing stuff today. One of my favorites, it's called Tight VNC website, leaves much to be desired, but it gets the point across. Basically, go ahead and get your copy of Tight VNC, pick the right version, and what this is going to allow us to do is run a VNC server and or client. Here's the download. We'll open that up and install. Which of course everything's going to go on the other monitor, so I'll bring it over here. All the nonsense here. I don't think they have you install any garbage. So say complete. Everything's good there. Install. And what happens here is this kind of runs in the background, and well, once it installs, and what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to access this desktop from over there. I know that sounds extremely lazy, but if I want to hit record on my audio software over here at the same time that I start my sculpting video over there, it's still a little bit overkill. I really could just walk over here and do it, but I thought it'd be a great quick way to show you guys something you may or may not know. You get this screen here that talks about passwords. I'm not going to require a password. I definitely recommend you use a password. This is just for demonstration purposes only, but definitely use a password. It keeps anybody else that has access to your network from pulling up your screen without you even knowing it usually. So finish, and this is just running in the background, which we go over here to the actual computer. You can see this pretty little, where's it at, little V icon here. You can see that it's running. Let's go over here. What I'm going to do actually, just to get a better idea for you guys, is I'm going to go ahead and kill this laptop monitor for the moment. And make this one the main monitor over here, and the only monitor. And we'll pull up our audio program here. So we're looking at that over here. Now we can walk over here, ignore any messes you may have seen. I tried to walk quick. This office is always a work in progress. Wife loves that. Here, open up our Tight VNC viewer. Can actually look for the machine. We want mobile record, which is the name of that one. And since I didn't put in a password, it's not going to ask me, but normally it would. And like I said, you should put a password in there. So boom, there it is, simple as that. Now we're looking at the screen that is actually behind me, and we can do things over there. Sometimes quickly, sometimes it's got a little bit of a lag. You can also scale it down if you want to save yourself some space. That's kind of hard to see and hard to do anything with, but you get the point. So this would be a great way for me to toss this over here on this monitor and just, you know, do whatever with it. Use it as a quick way to start the recording. The keyboard and mouse both work just as they would over there. And then when I come back over here, I'm back messing with my actual computer. So again, that's Tight VNC. Google that. That's pretty much all I got. Look for that video where we start sculpting. Again, we're going to be using this material here called Super Sculpey, which looks like my kids got into and made dead snails. I don't know, but we're going to be using that material. It's kind of like a hard Play-Doh that you can bake and turn into things that look a little more like that. So again, but to answer your question here, I am the lead developer, senior web developer, project manager, sometimes art director. Basically, I'm either the only guy on the job or I'm the one usually running the job. And that is because I like to solve problems, and to me, figuring out how to take what's in somebody's head and turn it into something tangible, in our case a website or something like that, to me is problem solving at its finest. So that concludes this blog, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I guess, I don't know, still new, these blog things. Anybody can tell me if I don't need to be doing them. So that's pretty much it. That kind of explains what I do. I will note really quick though that this may get me in trouble. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't screw up any of my requests for funds or anything. But if this gives anybody hope who's watching these videos, though I have a college degree, it's a minor one, and it has nothing to do with what I currently do for a living, or what I teach. Well, except for the Photoshop and things like that. But I learned all this stuff, all the programming and all that, by teaching myself and from watching other people. But I don't believe I took a programming class. If I did, it might have been one, or like a Visual Basic in high school or something, and I probably quit because I didn't care. But that gives you an insight into my childhood. Now I care. Anyway, until the next vlog, which again I hope to do as regularly as possible. I was even going to try and do it while I was out of town, but I was taking my daughter home to Florida, one of my daughters, and there wasn't really much to talk about in the car with her. I'm sure I would have bored her to death with this stuff. Hopefully that's not the case when she gets older. Who knows? But that's kind of how it is when you're a parent. I was supposed to be a basketball star, and didn't happen. Alright, goodbye.